Welcome to the Beef Tongue Podcast. This is Jack here with Cola and Walker.
It feels like a fucking preschool introduction. This is Jack, and this is Cola.
That's because I usually never do the introduction, so I don't have a lot of
I forget the names too.
Yeah, I forget.
It's gonna be bombastic.
Yeah, that's sort of something I need to work on. All right, fun fact. Wolverine, the Marvel character. You guys know Wolverine, right? The mutant from Marvel. He was created because the editor-in-chief for Marvel wanted a Canadian hero. There's no hero that was from Canada. So basically Wolverine was created so that Canada can have a hero and it can boost sales for Marvel Comics for the country of Canada.
Damn. I mean, when they released Wolverine, did they explicitly say that he's from Canada?
Yeah,
it was part of his origin
of him being in Canada, from Canada.
I didn't know he was a Canadian until I went onto the website and was like looking at through people's origins, and I'm looking at like Wolverine's Canadian and he's 5'5". That's pretty tall.
He's not nice at all. So then, if that's the case, was there ever a Ugandan superhero in Marvel, or instead they just made up a country and just called it Wakanda instead? Because they didn't want to make one from Uganda.
No, Marvel was trying to be inclusive at the time, and they're just including all the African countries by just making Wakanda. I could be a little bit, I guess.
That's not representation.
Yeah, it's not really representation.
Eat the poo-poo. Sorry. Yeah. Wow, that is fun. Canada is fun for Wolverine.
Yeah, they need
Wolverine's
more.
It's the best one.
They need to make a hero for each country.
So, who was your biggest Marvel craze person? Who's your favorite Marvel hero?
I always liked Spider-Man, just because his powers, he had to use both his natural powers from being a spider, but he had to use before the first Spider-Man movie made it so that his webbing came from his actual wrists. They had him use his mind to create his own webbing and stuff like that. He had to use a bit of his brain.
Is that how it went?
Yeah, he created his own webbing.
I think he used his knowledge to create the webbing, not think about it, push out his arm.
Yeah.
Mine would probably be Ghost Rider. I like Ghost Rider. I like my dark superheroes. Yeah. Because I think the first time I saw him in a Hulk animation, I was like, whoa, who's that? He rides a motorcycle and he has flames and he has a skeleton as a head. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm all about that.
And then it's funny when you grow up and you're like, this guy doesn't do shit. This is a regular ass man.
Okay.
Yeah. Mine's just Nightcrawler, actually. Just because the X-Men arcade game.
Oh yeah.
I thought it was so dope.
His power when he just.
Yeah, I'm just like, this dude just fucking cleared the whole room. What the fuck?
Yeah.
What was his power in the video games?
Teleportation. And then he was super nimble and stuff. And then I was a kid that played on the jungle gyms a lot, so I could relate to that kind of character at the time. So I thought it was really dope. Like I used to be the type of kid who um, like did all the upside down stunts on jungle gyms and jump from one to another.
Did like a cherry drop. That was a common thing for kids to do.
Yeah, yeah, it was
Cherry
super
drop.
common. Yeah,
Yeah,
the one where you're just like hanging from your legs,
from your
and
legs.
then you swing, and then like
Oh.
when you drop, you land on your feet.
That's
Yeah.
what they're called.
Mm.
The crazy. I think they took those out of schools now.
I remember one time, uh, this person we went to high school with, because I went to elementary with him. It's so funny because I guess when I was doing all those stunts, I guess a lot of people wanted a copy, and so
Oh,
this this kid, he he when he was trying to do the same thing, like so the trick was you stand on top of the single bars, the ones where you do the pull-ups on, like it's like a tall one, middle one, and a short one.
Yeah.
So like you stand from the top of that, and then you jump from that set to grab onto the monkey bars to swing on, like to swing and like, um, if you could possibly swing to jump on another set, but he he he's like, okay, I'm gonna go, and he just plummets straight down. It's so funny. It's because it was so funny because it reminded me of Family Guy when when the son Chris is just like like at some high level, and then someone tells him to come down, he just like lands on his face. So it was like that exact same scenario. So it was really funny. I mean, he wasn't hurt, but it was just like that shit got me laughing like all day.
Because it
Yeah.
reminded you of this incident.
what you
That's
got?
why I like Nightcrawler.
Nice. So what you got for a fun fact, Walker or Cola?
Oh,
Okay.
my fun fact is that in I forgot which country, but in Dutch trains run 100% on wind power. An hour of wind power can make the train go 120 miles.
Makes sense. There's a bunch of windmills in the Netherlands, right?
Hey man,
So
global warming, gotta be
using
aware of that.
So
So it's all
using
powered by wind.
windmills as turbines
Yeah,
for electrical power. Okay.
yeah.
I was imagining sails on on the trains.
They have the sail. It's like
There's just one dude up top just blowing on it. Yeah, that is fun. Uh, but see, that's the thing. Why can't we live off of that example?
Well,
I think the problem is like I think the wind doesn't I mean because it's state of California, but it's just too many people and we're running off of it, right? We're running off that grid. I think that's when we had the power outage. So because everyone had their AC on, it was affecting everybody, and it gave up. So yeah. So I can't wait for all the electric cars in the future.
Would you guys think about switching to solar power?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind.
we're all gonna have to switch to some kind of renewable.
It's an inevitability, honestly. It's like you're gonna have it one way or another.
Yeah, I think after the recent massive power outage in California, I don't know why California doesn't make it easier for people to get solar, right? Instead of people relying on the grid, they're actually pulling it off the roof of their house and running off of that instead of running off the grid. It takes the pressure off the grid, and I think California needs to understand that.
It's just like the early solar panels, they're just like, they don't even like let you operate off the grid though. So if there's a power outage and you have solar panels, it doesn't necessarily mean that like you're supplied with power, because you're still using that solar power to feed to the grid. So I mean, the technology has only recently.
Wait a minute. You're saying that how does it work? If it's the solar panel, is it going to your house or is it going to the grid?
It's going to the grid.
Oh, it's going to the grid?
Yeah, you're feeding into the grid. So technically, when there's a power outage and you have solar panels, you still have a power outage.
What?
So
wait, I thought you can still have
you have like so that's what the Tesla
Powerwall battery. If you have a
I
battery,
thought my thing is like I thought you have your solar panels, right? It's going to a battery in the house, it's charging that, and then at night it's running off the battery or something like that, or
if you have a battery.
If you have the battery, but then if you have the solar, don't you run off of that solar? Just say during the day you run off the solar, and then at night you run off the grid.
Right? Like you're saying, like a solar calculator, right? It just powers it just like that, and it just
powers the house during the day.
Yeah, like as long as there's light, right? No, it doesn't work like that.
Okay, I thought the solar panels power the electricity through the house and then feeds into the grid, unless you have a battery. No, it doesn't.
No. Yeah, but that's old. That's early technology. Now there are microinverters that actually do cut off the grid and supply power to the house. But it's yeah, it's so that is fairly newer technology. So it's pretty nuts. I was like, wow, I can't believe no one ever thought of this.
The crazy thing is like I mean I always thought that the house runs off solar.
Right.
But that makes sense. Like during the day has light, you'll run off the solar, and then at night I'll switch over to the grid because then the electricity is cheaper, right? It's cheaper and you just go off the grid because you're not running off the solar. But then once daylight comes, you're running off solar and then you're running off of that strictly. But it's like I thought it was like always switching from night and day to solar and grid, right? Not even that. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, battery technology is getting better, but so far, from what I've been learning, a lot of different brands are better than the Tesla Powerwall.
But, like Panasonic?
LG.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Panasonic's also one, or its subsidiary brands, I guess.
Is that your mic, Walker?
Yeah, it's like clicking.
There's this like staticky sound.
Oh, you know what? It's probably have an air filter going on right now. What? Is that better?
Yeah.
Yeah, not bad. But yeah, that's just how that technology kind of works. It's pretty cool. Like once you learn about it, like
that was Walker's fun fact.
So you're not running off solar; you're just feeding into the grid. I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's essentially what it is. I mean, like, because I had solar panels installed on my house, and when I found that out, I'm like, bullshit. Like, I'm still helping these motherfuckers, and then I'm gonna have the power outage.
It just reduces your bill, though, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because you're feeding into it. Yeah.
You're feeding into it. Yeah. So you're just creating a debit of charge. So then whatever you don't use, you get paid back for that. So far we've been in a negative, which is nice, but we got AC, so that might change. So my fun fact is red food dye for Skittles is made from boiled beetles.
Yum.
Oh yeah, I knew that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things like coloring and flavoring that's made from weird ingredients.
It's like was it a gelatin is made from cow cartilage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers! Why can't you let me have this one?
But I mean, if it's coming from bugs, it's kind of organic, right? The coloring.
It's all organic, man.
It's not organic. It's still being processed. It goes through and gets chemical treatments and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but a lot of that carminic acid. It's just kind of it's the stuff that's found in like maraschino cherries, strawberries, and raspberry flavored candy, and lipstick. Awesome, ladies. So sounds like you need an education. Speaking of education.
All right. Speaking of, the topic today is if you could change the career you're currently doing, what would it be and why? Let's start with Cola.
Like I always say, guys, I think I would become a mechanic. Only because, I mean, I'll have a job for the next, what, if I were a mechanic, maybe the next, what, 7 years, and then after that switches over to electric. But I think I'll have a job for the next couple of years.
I still think mechanics are pretty important. There's a lot of things that, not just cars.
Cars.
Do you want to just be a car mechanic, or do you want to just be a general mechanic?
Just like a general, like maybe working on jets, you know, tractors. What else?
A lot of that
jets,
shit
tractor,
need to be maintained.
Yeah.
Long after we move on to
electric
power for whatever.
Yeah, and it's always I don't know. You're always in. You always have friends if you're a mechanic. So.
Oh, I was going to add that. I was just going to add to just a caveat to this topic is that, you know, let's move forward with the idea that there's no, like, we don't know about the careers today. Like, we don't know that video games could make hell of money and stuff. So moving forward with that context, so then it's just like the ideas don't become overly bland or like obvious. Yeah, but I mean, for a mechanic though, like where would you see the fulfillment and the value?
You know, I've always liked fixing things, right, and then resolving people's issue. I really enjoy that part. But like the excitement of like making something work and run, I think that's where the appeal is, right?
Mm-hmm.
For me, like right now, like was that?
I like how you said, you know, solving people's problems, and it's like saying the car is a pure reflection of their problems. Like,
people's problems. Yeah,
there's so much wrong with it. Like this shit will never run.
Yeah, and then when people try to describe problems with the cars, it's like like solving a puzzle. It's like you gotta decipher what they're saying.
You know, I don't blame them. Like, remember I had my electrical issue with my car. It's like you go there and you explain what's going on. They're like, I don't see the problem. I don't see the situation. It's like, oh, I'm not lying to you. But this is what's happening.
And now it doesn't want to work. Issues with communication.
So it's like telling us like it's not. I'm not lying to you. It's like when you bring in anything, it's all of a sudden it starts working right until you like until the problem is trying to get addressed. It start working, right? But once you're not like not bringing it to a mechanic or anything, just having like it starts failing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, but like I mean, I do enjoy like fixing things and creating things at the same time. I think that's why I do a lot of video editing, just being creative with that. But I do. I mean, before, like when I had a place where I could fix my car, I would do all the work myself. So,
okay.
Right. That's how I would approach it. But as a career change, yeah, I would. Maybe I wish I could probably do it as a side hustle, but right.
I mean, you still can technically.
Yeah, technically I can.
Yeah.
Like, how do I get certified? Saying, hey, on the weekends I'll just do your oil, change your brakes.
Or you could just become an honorary one, because that's something that a buddy of mine did. He learned to restore bikes and cars from scratch. So
how do you become an
like,
how do you become
well,
an
no,
honorary?
it's just like
A
he runs a
hobbyist?
side hustle. Yeah. So he just runs a side hustle with it, really, because he customizes like rides and stuff. So it's like, to have that skill set there, it's like, yeah, it's incredibly useful. So cool.
That's how it works.
Mm. Let's see. If I didn't, I don't know. I already had a pretty diverse career path. That's the thing. I went one way and then went another, and then like I ended up at something completely different. But let's see. I think if anything, this has all taught me is that maybe I would want to be an engineer, because it is essentially the same idea of creating, and you're just sort of like using math and numbers to kind of wing it and just create something.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't, and for the longest time, it's like even after college, I did not know what an engineer was. It was not even just a basic idea of what they did. I thought they did something with engines.
To be fair, yeah.
Misleading. I could see that.
Yeah, and I'm just like, there's mechanical engines, there's civil engines, there's medical engines,
there's bike engines. There's a lot of engines. Plane engines.
Yeah. And then like when I actually learned about the career, I'm like, that's what they do? Fuck, I should have just done that.
Just know I have my friend. It took him 9 years to graduate with his engineering degree. It's like a bachelor of science.
What kind of engineer
was mechanical.
Oh, okay.
He couldn't get the math down. He could not get the math down.
Probably.
So 9 years.
9 years.
I was like, it's a good sign saying hey, maybe you shouldn't become an engineer. The crazy thing is like he took it that long, but then he ended up becoming delivering packages for FedEx.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's like, so if you didn't get that before, then yeah, you know.
It's like I'm out of school. I'm fucking done with math, and you're in a career that fucking revolves around math and shit.
Yeah, that's if you go into a career with math involved, you're gonna deal with math when you get out.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, and that's the crazy thing too. It's just like, and it might be a little cliche, but it's just like I kind of now get why like math is important. So, and it's just having to deal with things revolving around math for so long. It's also just like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I do so much of it in my daily life that I could have easily like passed a whole bunch of math classes, but they gave me homework, so fuck that.
It's funny for some people, like math doesn't make sense until you put it into a real world context, like talk about dealing with finance or numbers or how much debt you owe and how much you get paid, all that. Then the math starts making sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I should have paid attention. Yeah, I mean,
so my thing was just like, yeah, I probably would have become like a mechanical, electrical, or architectural engineer. What you got, Jack?
Cool. So for me, instead of going into software, what I did, I would have liked to have been an architect. I think architect would be a good mixture of creativity and engineering, because you get to design like buildings and stuff, and use a bit of the math skills along with trying to be creative about how you're designing a building.
Quick question.
Yeah.
A lot of girls that I've met in engineering, they're actually really cute. I don't know if you guys have encountered the same thing. I think
when I went
I don't know,
to,
but I also did not pursue the field, so it's just like other.
Did they finish with their
engineers? I don't know. When I went to engineering, most of them were like out of country, from India or China or some other country. They're very kept to themselves and stuff. I didn't see too many because the school that I went to is mainly for people who are after they do their 2 years in community college, or they're transferring in from a country from a different country just to get their BS or engineering degree. So I haven't seen a lot of cute engineering girls.
Mm.
You have to go into like the liberal arts, like psych or something, to see more of the cuter girls.
I feel like that's more of a melting pot. you get all kinds, but that's because like the field is like pretty saturated too. Yeah. So what exactly would inspire you to, or what inspired the idea of you being an architect?
Basically, I don't know, I just like buildings and houses and stuff like that. When I was a kid, I designed or drew pictures of like these cool houses and looked at cool pictures of architecture, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. It looks fun. I want to try to learn how to do that. Along with, video games and stuff. And I had all these ideas.
Mm.
I was actually didn't want to go into software and computer science because I thought there's a lot of math involved, but I found out that it wasn't too bad for how much math there was involved in science. And there's only certain disciplines of computer science that had a lot of math. But yeah, didn't end up doing architecture. Also, when I was looking at the career, one thing that made me want to pick something else over architecture was it was really tough to get into being an architect because you had to do it took almost as long as trying to get into like a medical field, and you get paid a lot less. Like you have to do an apprenticeship and work at all these different firms and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas for getting into software, it was a lot easier.
So it was a more of immediate payoff.
It was immediate payoff, and then also I wanted to make video games until later on in college. I learned that going into the video game business is a whole nother level of success.
Did you watch the Brady Bunch?
No.
Was
the dad the architect?
The dad was the architect.
Yeah.
Because I would watch the show. I was like, what is his dad doing? And then you see him do the drawing, like that.
Build this like diorama.
That's when I learned what the architect was. I'm like, oh, is you work at home all day, you raise 6 kids.
Do they have anything to do with engines? I mean, I did not watch the Brady Bunch, so. But interesting. Because.
But yeah, I mean, that's how I would approach it. I mean, back then, that's how I would have done it.
Mm-hmm.
You also had like a hobby too, right, Kola? Didn't you want to go and make movies? Do you think you could have made it had a career?
Originally, that was the career path that I wanted to go into, but it never happened. It never happened. But I worked in television. Shot a few things in here for companies, but that was about it. The thing is, like, which with what I'm terrible at is like, I wouldn't say it's like just the communicating with the customers about things, and that's the worst thing that like worst feeling ever because I don't want to deal with customers at all. So that's things like if I had somebody else managing it, that's fine. But
For what?
just doing production stuff,
Oh.
it's just talking to clients and getting what they need and stuff like that.
Ends
Like,
up being like a director or something like that.
yeah.
You still have to deal with all that.
No, but the thing is like if you're doing it by yourself, then you're everything. Director, editor, sound editor, and all that stuff.
So all the fun parts are like you only have a little bit of time to do, and everything else is like the management side.
Right.
That's why, like, when I see people start companies, they always have like 2 or 3 people. One of them that does like all the technical stuff, and another one that just focuses on the management.
On the customers, and like if they're really good at it, then yeah, like they can deal with the customers and then they can relay it. That's the same thing that it's similar to what I do now. Is like I do all the technical stuff, and everybody else goes out and just um, explain to the customer this is what's happening, and they come back with me with like questions and stuff, and how can we resolve it for them, and then we send it back out to them. That's how it is right now, and I really like that. Right, just like I don't have to deal with the customers and stress level, and like I can focus on other things. But yeah, I
Speaking
wish
of
I
that,
known
we're
that
3 people
earlier.
too.
Yeah, yeah, I wish I learned that earlier. So it's like learning your weaknesses and strengths, and like so it's like yeah, once you learn your weakness, then you can excel at other things, or maybe work on it. Right, work on your weakness.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, how often do you really want to accept your weakness?
You don't, and that's why you say yes to everything, right? That's why you say
Yeah,
yes to everything and challenge yourself.
yeah. I mean, when I was younger, like my career dream was to be in like media and like TV and stuff like that. But I just wanted to be a cameraman because I thought that was a big thing career path for me because I'm just like, man, that's really cool. You get to be involved with all these projects. You see how they're made, you see how they're developed, and then you're a part of that process, and you're gonna control what everyone else sees. So it was just being a part of production like that. I loved um, I loved working as a part of a team for those kinds of things because I was in TV comm in high school, so it was like those were actually the most fun moments I had in school because it's like that's literally a platform where you can just create anything you wanted. It didn't have to always make sense, but it was a good starting point for tapping into some level of creativity. But did you guys ever have other dream jobs or paths that you would have taken as a kid?
Hmm. As a kid, I liked drawing a lot, but I didn't have a career to make out of it, and I didn't practice enough, so I never got any good at drawing. Art, basically.
No,
What about you, Cole?
no, not nothing. Nothing on my. I would think I will just become a teacher later on in life, but not not now. But like no, become like a substitute teacher because only because we had one woman she's a retired engineer, but um, she's a retired engineer, but then she's like, I'm just gonna go substitute students. So the crazy thing is like we found out that yeah, she was like she used to be an engineer, um, but like in retirement age, like she just can't sit around doing things. So she's like decided to substitute because it only takes what 3 hours of her day and stuff like that, and she can pick up assignments and stuff whenever needed, right? So she's making good money on the side doing that. But we also found out that she was also a Holocaust survivor.
Oh.
Yeah, she was pretty old. And she showed her tattoo on her arm, but I was like, oh, maybe I can do that when I get older. Just become a substitute teacher and pass out paper slips and take attendance and call it a day.
Damn. I don't know. What's your what's your guys' experience with substitute teachers? I used to love all substitute teachers just because we didn't do shit like whenever they were around.
Yeah,
it's just like they always put on a movie.
It was hit and miss. I had one substitute teacher that was, for some reason, trying to drill the class like a military school. I'm like, what the hell? And this was when I was in like 4th or 5th grade. I was like, what the fuck?
Just come in.
My mind, I didn't swear as a kid, but
I know, for real.
This substitute teacher would go in and just force the whole class to sit back straight, look forward, don't say anything, and then only speak when spoken to. I'm like, what the hell? He's trying to run the whole class like it was a military, like a military company or military group or regiment. It was like totally didn't work.
But it's like that you're not invested in this class enough to be giving us orders.
Yeah.
Wow. I never had that experience. It's just like that's I don't know, just because every substitute teacher was just so like, all right, well, I'm here. What do you guys normally do? It's like, I don't know, we either do some random assignment or we just like watch a movie. They're just like, put on a movie, don't say shit, and then the only thing is like, don't move out of your seat. So yeah.
And with that, it's a wrap. Thanks, guys.
All right. Big tongue out. Chop chop.